is on people who are CEOs or former CEOs. They're looking for that expertise, and over the last 5 years, that has been less emphasized. When you go for diverse candidates, you're just, by definition, they are much less likely to have been a CEO.
While the rise in adding white men as board members isn't related to the greater DEI pullback in the corporate world, it does highlight how a lack of diversity historically in big businesses is still having an impact on hiring today. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
To the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping. Like a heartbeat's call, he's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. And you all know what February is. It is many things. It is a month for lovers. It is a month for Groundhog's Day, which is also today. The little bastard saw a shadow, so 6 more weeks of winter. But doesn't he always see a shadow? And doesn't winter always end up lasting 6 more weeks anyway? February is many things. February is the shortest month of the year. February is also when we, every 4 years, have a leap year. George Washington's birthday, Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Day, President's Day, where there's like mattresses that go on sale. There's President's Day sales. And it's also Black History Month. Ladies and gentlemen, I have always had a very complicated relationship with Black History Month because there is a cliche and an associated expectation that if you host a Black talk radio show, you're supposed to go nuts for Black History Month. You're supposed to go insane. You're supposed to do all of those things. And I have taken issue with that. First and foremost, I don't think that The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is no longer a Black talk radio show. It is not. The appeal has become more universal than even I'm comfortable with, but I guess that's a good thing. But there is this overabundance of pressure that as a Black person that has a broadcast media platform, we have to go above and beyond for Black History Month. And I take issue with that because every single day I'm trying to move the needle forward and provide information and inform people. So I don't want to narrow our beautiful, creative, powerful, and monumental history to a month. Now, I also see the other side of that because every year I get into it with people saying, no, Sherwin, our history is not just condensed into 1 month. This is a month in which we pay particular attention and we have a laser focus on the contributions of African Americans. But that bothers me too because, it shows that we weren't taught a lot. And they weren't taught a lot about us. So now it's incumbent on us for us to first learn our history and then for us to teach it to them. If history is showing us one consistency, they never think that we're credible on anything, let alone teaching them. You find me a school district or a single school anywhere in this great nation of ours where the majority of the teachers, the principals, the administrators, the paras, the office staff, and the safety are Black, and the student body is white. It does not exist. And if they thought that we were credible educators, they would have us educating their kids, but they don't do that on purpose. So I want to be abundantly clear. It is not my job per se to teach white people about history. But what I like to do with Black History Month, because I'm going to take a bit of a different track this year, because this is the 100th anniversary of what began by Carter G. Woodson in February of 1926. It began as Black History Week. So this is the centennial, the 100-year anniversary of the celebration and commemoration and the focus on our beautiful, beautiful history. But the other thing is there's a shallowness to it. And if you know us, and our people, we're not shallow, we're extremely deep. There's a lot of depth in Black community and Black culture. You saw some of it on display last night during the Grammys. I watched the Grammys pretty much from start to finish. Trevor Noah is terrible. Like, he needs to get deported. Sorry, I don't know why he was he's the last. That was the last time I think he was going to MC the Grammys because the Grammys are now moving to ABC and Hulu after a 50-something year run, a 54-year run with CBS. So Trevor Noah is gone, thank goodness. But our impact and our culture is on full display. We are very complicated. We are very nuanced. And that is why it is difficult for Caucasian folks, when they get in political power, to make policy for a people who are complicated and nuanced. We oversimplify everything when it comes to us, and I don't know what that is. I've been going down these rabbit holes lately on social media where it is defining the music of today as just noise. And the artists and the lyrics are really simple because the kids can't read. On every show for the past probably, 3 or 4 months, I have made mention of how low the proficiency levels are in not just math, but reading for our Milwaukee public school students. And now I'm starting to see that this phenomenon is not just here. It is everywhere. Children can't read. And so the music that they respond to and the entertainment that they pay attention to is equally as watered down and anti-intellectual. And it makes telling about and teaching about the nuances and the specifics of Black people and Black history very, very difficult, because even to this day, this is so frustrating for me. This is why in previous years, I have just overlooked Black History Month altogether, save for the required things that we have to do. It's because all we do is we reduce it down to Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. Like, we didn't even follow Dr. King toward the end of his life where he feared he was integrating his people into a burning building. Like, we omit that part completely because the Dr. King I Have a Dream is what makes white people feel comfortable. And they use Dr. King to make sure that we stay passive. Whenever black folks get angry or we get emotional because of how the world looks at us and how this country treats us, whenever we get angry and get emotional and we want to vocalize this unfair treatment, here comes a white person saying, you know, Dr. King wouldn't like that. It's so disingenuous coming from a population that has school shootings that they do nothing about. But then they tell us that we need to be much more passive. Maybe we're getting our passivity from them. But even when I hear black folks say, oh, Sherwin, Dr. King means a lot. He was way more complicated than most people know and understand, especially toward the end of his life when he saw that there was very little difference. Now, it took him a while because there was some pretty major fights that Dr. King had to embark in. And some of the stuff was local. It was local Jim Crow and local bus segregation and local issues. But as he started moving toward the end of his life, he noticed that poor white people and poor black people were the same and were getting screwed over by the same people. He also became decidedly anti-Vietnam War. And back then, that was the kiss of death. I'd imagine Dr. King's assassination, which there are still many conspiracy theories surrounding, had more to do with his new approach, his new focus, goal, and aim to have a poor people's movement and to be anti-war. That got him killed, I think, more so than trying to unify black people, because the institutions and the structures in the United States, especially then, were created so that black success could either be limited or carefully controlled by white people. So if anything, getting a bunch of black people out on the streets and marching and holding hands and singing "We Shall Overcome" was acceptable. Because then if you got tired of the black people out there marching and protesting, just bring out the fire hoses and bring out the dogs and break up their little party. So I think America was okay with that. But as Dr. King's voice grew bigger, louder, stronger, and more credible, he was like, wait a minute, we got a poverty problem in this country. Dr. King was even talking about universal health care 60-some years ago. That is when he became dangerous, because he then was a threat to the status quo. Now imagine had he been able to complete his work. You wouldn't have people like a Jeff Bezos and a Mark Zuckerberg and an Elon Musk having the inordinate amount of political power that they have right now. As we do every day, we put up a poll on the YouTube because I like to ask you guys questions to see how you feel about the issues of the day. Do you celebrate Black History Month? Maybe some of you echoed my previous year's sentiments of why do we have to stay focused on something that needs to be an everyday part of chronological American history. And for many years, I rebelled. But I'm doing things a little bit different this year because this is the 100th anniversary of what started as Black History Week. At least we made progress. We went from Black History Week to a whole month. That's the shortest month. And has Groundhog Day in it. And 2 presidents' birthdays. And Valentine's Day. Hey, we take progress wherever we can possibly get it. If you're going to post in the Hughes Views 414 Facebook group, you know, the Facebook group that corresponds to this show, don't give me a bunch of Dr. King stuff. We already know who Frederick Douglass is. Stop it. Please don't post about Harriet Tubman. We know who those people are. Dig deep. Do research. Find me a black historical figure that has been washed over in the pages of history. I want something specific and something substantial. All of these names and faces have just become ghosts of the past because white society never wanted us to get the credit for doing the things that we did that quite honestly changed the world. So if you're going to post in the group, shock us with what you find. On the YouTube, I'm just asking you a simple question. Do you celebrate or commemorate Black History Month, yes or no? Some of you do, some of you don't. I also wonder how white people celebrate Black history, especially in these days and times. I know Google is no longer setting aside content for Black History Month, and it says Google has removed default pre-populated references to Black History Month and other cultural public holidays from its Google Calendar app to streamline to only globally recognized public holiday. Google has removed, because they used to have little factoids about Black history. When you go to Google to do your searching, they would have little details on like a little animation, a little picture commemorating or at least giving some respect to Black History Month. Google has removed it. And then as I was reading, it also is because diversity, equity, and inclusion is no longer fashionable, in vogue, or I guess in some cases legal. So Google, the top search engine on the planet, is now erasing or attempting to erase the respect for our History Month. So that is more reason for me to come back into the fold and provide the best programming for Black History Month that is informative, that is insightful, and that causes us to critically think. Many things to talk about today. We also have the names of the two individuals who shot Mr. Alex Pretty. The Department of Justice kept their names secret. Now we know them, and when I reveal their names and who they are, you're going to be even more shocked than the video you probably saw of his death. I got some other stuff we're going to chit-chat about with, too. If you're so inclined, if you got questions or comments or general gripes, because most people that call this show, doesn't even matter what I'm talking about. No respect to the conversation at hand. They just call and tell us what they had for breakfast and talk about the errands they have to run. Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. I have probably given that phone number out more times than David Gruber has said one call, that's all. But for some reason, I still get inbox messages saying, Sherwin, what's the phone number? I wanted to call, but I don't know the phone number. I just gave you the phone number. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on this second day of Black History Month. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Metastatic breast cancer, or stage 4 breast cancer, happens when cancer spreads beyond the breast to other parts of the body. About 168,000 women are living with it today, with Black women at a higher risk due to various factors. Research has led to treatments that help manage the disease and improve quality of life. The Everyday Counts study explores how nutrition and exercise coaching can support women with metastatic breast cancer. To learn more about the Everyday Counts study in Milwaukee, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu. If you or someone you know has stage 4 breast cancer, please encourage them to call and enroll in this valuable study. Again, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In the city, remember you used to drive a Yukon. I pick up whenever you call. In the parking lot in Tucson, like, are you with me?
We titled the show The Great Houdini because there is something, or maybe I should say someone, that is disappearing from American society. And it may not be who you think. And at some point I'm going to reveal who is doing this great disappearing act. I haven't quite figured out how we're going to respond to it, because when this thing, very powerful thing, begins to leave, it does not get directly replaced. So what will follow in its wake of this thing, this phenomenon that is leaving, and some are happy that it's going, but what is left in its wake for the time being is going to be a void that I'm not sure if any of us know how to fill it. So there is a tremendous disappearing act, and it has an impact on all of us, socially and academically, financially. It's got a really big impact, and the next wave of American politics is coming, and this is why I remain optimistic. The next 3 years are going to be really, really bad. Now what I'm concerned about is Tulsi Gabbard. You guys remember her? She was, I think she ran as a Democrat in 2016. I'm not sure if she entered the Democratic fray in 2020. I think she also may have run for president. She didn't go very far because she is an unusual kind of Democrat. She was exceptionally conservative in her leanings. She also adopted a lot of conspiracy theories. Like, I think she was like a QAnon person. She was a real weird person to run as a Democrat. Well, she's now in the Trump administration, because if Trump is going to put a Democrat in his administration, it has to be a weird one. Like, R.F. Kennedy Jr. Trump gets those kinds of Democrats. But Tulsi Gabbard she's like a national security advisor, a position that most members of Congress all universally agreed that she wasn't qualified for, because some of the things that she has said both publicly and privately don't bode well for the safety and protection of the United States. In fact, she is much more likely to work with and collaborate with foreign actors that may not have America's best interest in mind. But the Republicans, of course, voted to confirm pretty much all of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees because, they give Trump whatever he wants. But Tulsi Gabbard was a particular problem. So she works on like national security stuff. She's like a national security advisor. She was seen wearing like a crude disguise. I mean, everybody knew who she was. In Georgia in the last week or so, and I think this story may have gotten glossed over because there's so many other things happening in our news cycle. She was in Georgia investigating, looking at, there was something about the election system and voting systems and ballots that she, as a national security advisor, involved herself in. Now, when I say her job does not entail anything that has to do with our elections, literally nothing. The fact that she was sent to Georgia, because you remember Donald Trump had that conversation with the previous Georgia Secretary of State, says all we need to do was find 11,780 votes. Remember that? And that actually got Donald Trump indicted because that was the biggest election fraud that we had ever seen to date. So Tulsi Gabbard went down to Georgia to do something with the voting machines. I'm not sure if they confiscated one, but with the state Senate election that took place in Texas that also flew under the radar. Texas 9 is the state Senate district. This is a district that has been held by a Republican for 35 years, and I think Donald Trump carried it by like 20 points. A Democrat just won. And Donald Trump is panicking. There are districts that are turning blue because Republicans, hardcore, sometimes evangelical, very conservative Republicans, are voting for Democrats. It's not like that Texas district all of a sudden became more blue. No, it's the same voters, and they voted for Donald Trump in 2024. But not only did they flip Democratic, they flipped in a big way. I think that the Democratic candidate won with something like 57% of the vote. That's not a usual flip. A flip would be a district that Trump won by 2 points and a Democrat would run and win by 1. This was a monumental flip. If things continue on this trajectory politically, which is a downward trajectory, we can agree, then Democrats are going to clean sweep not just state elections, not just governor's elections, but congressional elections as well. That will cause Donald Trump to panic because his presidency would effectively be over. He wouldn't be able to get anything done. He would be under more investigation and more scrutiny, and the likelihood of his impeachment now or in 2027, if the Democrats are able to sweep into power, it would be like 2018, 2019 on steroids. And so Trump doesn't want that to happen. So I think they're going to federalize our elections. which is illegal, which is unconstitutional, because if you look in the Constitution, and most of you haven't, the federal government has nothing to do with our elections. The only thing the federal government says is you got to be 18 to vote. That's it. It doesn't administer elections. It doesn't set rules. In fact, the federal government is so loose when it comes to voting and elections. You can be a felon and run for any federal office, including the presidency, because the federal government is like, oh, well, when they first created it, you know those guys were all drunk, right? The people that signed the Declaration of Independence and the First Continental Congress, they used to drink a lot, because back then beer was more sanitary than water, so they were drunk all the time. And so they basically created a constitution that said, well, we don't need to put anywhere in the Constitution that felons can't get elected, because Americans would never vote for that. Had they been sober when they wrote the document, we might have a whole different set of rules that created the United States of America. So I know that Republicans are panicking, as they should. The approval ratings for Donald Trump, in my opinion, they're still too high. Like, there's still almost 40% of the people in this country that approve on how he's handling immigration. Like, who are those people? But I think they're going to federalize the election in that we'll have our election here in Milwaukee, and it may show, I don't know, Congresswoman Gwen Moore winning, and it may show the Democratic candidate for governor winning. But then there's going to be doubt sowed over the election. Democrats are cheating, or maybe they'll blame a foreign country, foreign actors. There'll be some manufactured crisis. And I think there will be some Customs Border Patrol, there will be some immigration customs enforcement, and a combination of National Guard in major blue cities, because those are the cities that Donald Trump is attacking. And by having a military presence or a paramilitary presence in a blue city, you can say, oh, well, we want to, stop these sanctuary cities from hiding these illegal aliens. But it also makes it a lot easier for federal troops to confiscate voting machines. What reason does Donald Trump have to be fair now, when he knows that if you tell the American people, hey, American people, if you don't like what's going on right now, you can vote for a totally different party, go in a totally different direction. You can bring some civility back. We can bring back, supporting the middle class and creating jobs and not doing all this heavy-handed, murderous immigration stuff. Most people, especially if you look at Texas 9, that state Senate district down in Texas that nobody thought would be a flipper. It's been a Republican district since the 1990s, and a Democrat just won. And won by a lot. Trump can't have that. He cannot have the last 2 years of his second term he can't be in battle and embroiled in impeachment and investigations and all the subpoenas that are going to fly. Hakeem Jeffries already has the subpoenas ready to go. I think they're going to cheat, because who's going to stop him? No one has stopped him. Do you understand that this dude he went to Venezuela? It's 15,000 troops they took down in Venezuela to go get the president and the president's wife of Venezuela, and now we don't even know where they're at. We don't even talk about them anymore. He took 15,000 troops and just snatched them. Now he put tariffs, over the weekend, on all of the countries that bring oil and energy and fuel and gasoline to Cuba. Now Cuba wants to go to war with the United States. He's going to bomb other Middle Eastern countries at the request of Benjamin Netanyahu. No one is telling Donald Trump no. So if he says, oh, well, there's election fraud, and if he continues the big lie, have you noticed he's talking about the big lie again? Every so often he's referring to 2020 and that election was stolen. Dude, you know that election wasn't stolen. And here's what's crazy about it. You're president again. So even if the 2020 election was stolen, you got elected president again. But what he's doing is he's planting the seed to sow doubt in the integrity of our elections. But here's why the American people are so stupid. So the election where Trump got elected twice, those were fair. But when a Democrat wins, it's cheating. Right? No, really? Well, it's the same election, right? Same process. Nothing changed. But when Trump gets elected, oh, we did a great job and we had a great campaign and we motivated people in the battleground states and we won the popular vote. That election was fair. But if Democrats have the political momentum because people are sick of Donald Trump and quite honestly scared of him, then, oh, no, those elections are fraudulent. So I'm extremely cautious about what's going to happen in November of 2026 because the Democrats do have momentum. Now, let's be clear. If there's something that Democrats can screw up, it's their momentum. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat or defeat from the jaws of victory, whatever it is. But I'm a little concerned. Take a break, come back. I guess we'll talk about Dr. King. Can we not just make Black History Month about Dr. King and his dreaming? Because what does that do? It keeps black people in a state of like, oh, I hope one day that we can all come together. Stop it. Stop hoping that. We have to be much more proactive. And why do we think, for any reason or all of a sudden, white people are going to be like, oh, we're sorry. Oh, here's your slave money. We didn't mean it. We're sorry about the lynchings. We were angry. Sorry. You think that's ever going to happen? But for some reason, we are still the ones dreaming and hoping. I think it's time that we wake up, and that is why I'm pushing aside the more cliched things about Dr. King, and we're going to talk about Dr. King, if we talk about him at all, the more radical Dr. King that was starting to understand the Malcolm X philosophy. If I have to, I'll get a gun and I'll shoot a cracker in the face, or whatever he said. I'm not sure if he said that, but it would be funny if he did. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This Friday night, we have a city conference showdown as the Milwaukee Juneau Pioneers battle the Carmen Northwest Eagles. Fast breaks, big shots, and bragging rights on the line. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The City Conference Game of the Week on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com is sponsored by Milwaukee Public Schools and presented by Gruber Law Offices. Truth Nation, it's time once again to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community at the second annual Truth Community Awards, happening Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 inside the 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee. This award show will honor the unsung heroes who show up, give back, and make a positive impact in our community every single day. We're rolling out the red carpet and showing love to those who truly deserve it. Buy your tickets now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. Tickets are just $20, which includes free food and exclusive Truth giveaways. Join the 1017 The Truth team for an unforgettable night of entertainment, inspiration, and community pride at the second annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 in Milwaukee. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Milwaukee College Prep, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a bright, focused foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Don't sleep on Journey, Rhea. Don't sleep on Steve Perry. Don't sleep on this. It seems that Dr. King somewhat regretted his I Have a Dream speech. And when you give a speech to an audience that large, you're probably better off striking a really happy and optimistic tone. Because imagine if Dr. King had told those 250,000+ people, I think we need to storm this Capitol. I think we need to go up in the Speaker's office and rub boo-boo all over the walls. Because, you know, the Capitol rioters, they defecated in the U.S. Capitol. You guys know that? And they rubbed it on the walls. And there was a bunch of African-American men that live in Washington, D.C. that went the next day and cleaned up other people's feces to show how patriotic these black men were. They went and cleaned up the U.S. Capitol. That's an amazing story that does not get told. It's also kind of embarrassing because black folks are still cleaning up white folks' sugar honey iced tea. But in striking an optimistic tone, I think it gave people a lot of hope. Like, oh, wow, maybe we can overcome some of this stuff. Because there was some progress that was made, even though the legislation that all of us benefit from today didn't get signed until a little bit later on in the decade. There was some desegregating factors, and then, you know, some cities and some towns eroded their own Jim Crow laws as they saw the country was very slowly evolving into one that was slightly more fair, but also including black people in every part of the economy is overall good for capitalism. Because there were, in fact, certain jobs and certain employers and certain industries that we were kept out of simply because we were black. But if those industries are able, if they can't grow because of a lack of labor, then excluding black people from those industries is stupid. So being much more inclusive of us and our labor bodes well for capitalism. While the I Have a Dream speech is often remembered for its call for racial harmony and idealized hopeful futures, King's later work shifted toward criticizing systemic economic injustice, the Vietnam War, and the very slow pace of integration. Dr. King was only active for like 12 years. You'd think that he was around for 50. As much as we talk about him and quote him and the books and the movies that were written about him, no, it was only 12 years. He did a lot in 12 years. What have we done as individuals? You ever think about that? Like, what have we as individual people done in 12 years? I mean, some of you probably had kids. Some of you probably became entrepreneurs. Some of you just got fat. You never know. It varies from person to person. From dream to nightmare. In a 1967 NBC News interview, 4 years after the I Have a Dream speech, King admitted, quote, I must confess that the dream I had that day at many points had become a nightmare. He explained that his old optimism was too superficial and needed to be tempered with realism. And this is why I, Sherwin Hughes, your opinion may vary. I take issue with the I Have a Dream speech. I also take issue with how white people that otherwise don't like black people or disrespect or discredit black people, they quote Dr. King. They quote Dr. King when it's useful. Whenever they fear black people, whenever they fear us physically or, more importantly, intellectually, and they think that we are rising up and gaining in strength and becoming more unified, because when black people become unified, we become unified against white supremacy. They always say, oh, you know, Dr. King wouldn't like that. White supremacists use Dr. King like fake Christians use the Bible. They can always find something to justify their actions, attitudes, and their behavior. You can always find something in Dr. King's many, many words that he spoke and he wrote to pacify black people. And we as black folks eat it up. Somebody posted in the group yesterday, and maybe he was being facetious, but Sherwin, I want to post about what the I Have a Dream speech means to me. No, post it on your own page. Don't post that in my group. Our Facebook group is for next level, out of the box, critical black intellectual thought, where white people are contributing to. And I asked a question in the Facebook group. I shouldn't have asked it, but I was curious and bored. Bad combination for me. How do white people celebrate Black History Month? And there was, of course, a couple of thoughtful answers, but there's always a response. Whenever you talk to like super woke white people, they feel like they have to come to terms with their white guilt. I don't like that. If white people, if you're going to feel guilty, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't relish nor rejoice in Caucasian guilt, because guilt will turn to resentment. And they're not going to resent themselves. They're going to resent us. So I don't think anybody who was born Caucasian and not informed or educated on the history of black people, don't feel guilty. It's not your fault. It isn't. Don't feel guilty. Because, I mean, where's the guilt going to get you? Just inform yourself. And there are people that I'm sure listen to you. And there are people that find you credible. So I'd rather you do this than feel guilty. Just have conversations with people in places and spaces in which black people lack credibility. Like at your dinner table. The number of white people that may feel guilty because of all the things that they've done and all the privileges that they had, nobody blames you for your privilege. I was born a man. I don't apologize for that, but as a man, there's certain responsibilities that I willingly take on to help people that don't have the advantages that I have. But I'll never feel guilty about being a man. In fact, I think men need to make a comeback. Not white men, not you. Black men. We need to make a resurgence, black men. Time for us to stand up, especially while the country, at least temporarily, I think we have a window here, black men, because the country's really distracted. Because you got all that stuff going on, the customs and the aid. They're not really fooling with us right now. You might see every so often a video or two of a black couple or a black man getting pulled over by ICE, but they're not really fooling with us. So I think while this window is open where the country is not paying attention to every single move that black people make, black men, I think we need to make a comeback. We need to have a resurgence. I don't know what it looks like, but I think while the country is distracted, we as black men need to do something. I don't know. Integrating into a burning house. Toward the end of his life, Dr. King expressed deep skepticism about the process of integration. He was quoted as saying, "I fear that I'm integrating my people into a burning house," suggesting that gaining access to white society was meaningless if that society was built on systemic inequality, economic oppression, and militarism. And that is one of the most genius revelations that Dr. King came to. Do you have any idea what it's like? And I know some of you do, but I want you to think differently about everything, because the world that we are currently in is soon to be unrecognizable if you still have a 20th century mode of thinking. Everything is being realigned. Politics is being realigned. The respect for the Constitution is being realigned. Immigration is being realigned. The economy is being realigned. I still don't know if we can appreciate what artificial intelligence is going to do to this society. The impact that the consumer internet, remember AOL when the internet was just goofy and silly and looked like a bunch of cartoons? Remember back then? We would have no idea that people would be living their lives and starting whole careers and business ventures. We would do most of our shopping, most of our interacting, our dating, our mingling, our socializing on the internet. It transformed global life, did it not? And no one ever predicted 30 years ago that the internet would be what it is right now. AI is going to have an infinitely larger impact than the internet has had on our lives over the last 30 years. So everything is getting completely and totally realigned, right? So I need us to think very differently and overthink sometimes. It's good, because then some solutions will come out of your overthinking. Being black and going into white spaces that do not know and understand and appreciate black people, black history, black culture, and black struggle. is like going back to a toxic ex and thinking they're going to change. Some white people don't want to do the work. They just think, well, we'll just hire a bunch of black people and that'll suffice. But if you haven't done the work, like if the toxic ex hasn't done the work to heal and get years and years of therapy, they're still going to be toxic. White people that have not done the work and do not have an appreciation for what it takes for a black person to see any kind of success in a nation that was built to make sure we stay marginalized. That's the part that white folks don't get. Because white folks think that, well, if you don't work hard, you won't be successful. No, if you don't work hard, you're not going to be successful. We have to work hard and overcome the attitudes and opinions of people that hate us. And we have to work hard. So we got to work hard and we got to convince white people. A lot to think about. Take a break, come back. We titled the show The Great Houdini. Well, actually, Rhea did. I sent it to her and she makes the words appear on the YouTube. Something is disappearing, and with this thing that's disappearing, it's taken a lot of resources with it, resources that we need as a society, and especially resources we need as black African-American people. And while we have these great realignings of our whole society and of politics and elections and all of that stuff, we have to figure out what we're going to do to fill the void. Oh, there's a song by a guy named Fat John called Fill the Void. I think I'll play that next. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
This is Lorenzo.
Lorenzo, you just won $5,000!
What would you do with $5,000?
That's least for a couple months.
Yes!
There you go.
Yes. That just made me happy.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 101.7thetruth.com.
Can we hold something?
Y'all holler back at y'all.
I got money now. Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin winters can be tough, and so are higher energy bills. The Community Advocates Milwaukee County Energy Assistance Program is ready to help you. Eligible Milwaukee County residents can receive help with their energy bills and weatherization benefits to keep you warm and help you manage your heating and electric bills. Schedule your personal appointment at keepwarmmke.org or call 414-270-4653. For more details about locations and hours of operation, go to communityadvocates.net. This program is administered by the State of Wisconsin Department of Administration.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Our phone number is 833-212-1017. I'm going to give it again because nobody writes it down. 833-212-1017. Hour 2 is when I'm going to tell you who or what is doing this huge disappearing act like the great Houdini, and in their wake, essentially nothing is there to follow up all that will be lost. And with their or its disappearance, we are suffering and we are struggling because people need to know. Don't we owe people an explanation as to why they're struggling? We got to tell them, is it the economy? Is it the transition from an analog world to a digital world? Like, people need to know why they're not doing as well as their parents, or why the promise of a bright future is not being made good on. We got to tell people, because here's the other, I guess, cheat code or hack about America. If you are taking things away from people, and if our futures aren't bright and people don't feel optimistic and jobs are few and far between and money is even fewer and further between and everything is getting much more expensive, if you don't give Americans an honest, concrete answer, they're going to blame other people. We're going to blame undesirables. We're going to blame the immigrants. We're going to blame poor people. So you have to be honest with the American people that most of the money that the U.S. Mint prints is getting stolen. It's inflating our dollar. Our dollar is worth less, so everything has to be more expensive. But if you're not giving the American people honest answers, we will just go to our default setting and blame people who we see as competition. Because think about this for a second. If jobs that pay a lot of money are few and far between, you're not going to want people coming over here from other countries. First of all, when they come from other countries, for a period of time, they're going to do jobs that nobody wants. But eventually, they may get the job or apply for the job or have the skills and experience to get the job that you want. So it's not about the immediate immigrant coming to this country and doing a low-end job. And I think why Americans are covertly intimidated is because we don't want to start at the bottom. And we all know that success requires you to start at the bottom, because y'all wasn't born with no silver spoons. Well, a couple of you were. A couple of you were born with golden spoons in your mouths. But we know that starting at the bottom and having a really solid and strong work ethic is how you get to the top. And so many people from other countries that come from conditions that we as Americans couldn't even imagine, those folks will come here and they'll outwork us at the bottom. And we know that they can very well rise to the top, but Americans think like, no, we're supposed to get all the top jobs and the top opportunities, but we don't want to work for it. Especially Bob. You're on 1017 The Truth.
Hello, Sherwin. Boy, you started early this morning. Look, I got 2 points. And, there's 3 things we ought to get. You need to impeach this man. The 3 things, if we can get by this before they impeach this man, is war. I think he might get us in the war. This man is ridiculous. ICE and voting. And my second point, since this is Black History Month, and they don't have White History Month, they don't have Asian History Month, they don't have Spaniard History Month.
Bob, yes, they do. White people don't need History Month because their history is like every textbook ever written. And yes, there is Asian and there is Hispanic. There's a Women's History Month. There's Native American. Yes, all of those exist.
Well, the point is, since you're taking off Martin Luther King's Day and June the 19th, like they do on the 4th of July, you need to talk about Black History Month every day this month.
What do you think I do, Bob, every day? The only time I'm not talking about Black history is when I'm on the phone with you, because then I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm on the phone with you.
Guess who I seen at Walmart?
Nobody asked you.
He said, hey.
No one asked you who you saw at Walmart. No one did.
He said, hi, and I said, "Hi, Bob." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "What's that word in that you know that word that I saw Benjamin?" I said, "Benjamin." I was so happy. I said, "How are you doing?" "He's doing fine." That's what he said. Amazing. That's what he said. He said, I said, "Who are you? Why are you calling me Bob?" He said, "Amazing." I said, "Benjamin." So I think you ought to talk about Black History Month every day of the month to make up for the fact that you have taken off Martin Luther King's birthday and June 19th birthday like the 4th of July. So make up for it by talking about it every day. I shall talk to you later, sir.
Well, at least Benjamin is doing okay. At least that's... We didn't ask Bob who he saw. He told us. And why do I have to work extra hard because I'm not going to work on Black Independence Day and I take Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday holiday off? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell you who is doing a great disappearing act like Houdini. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
All your favorite interviews and best moments live in one place.
I love your perspective, Sherwin.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
Appreciate
you do a great job. I downloaded the app so I can listen to you in the evening sometimes because you make a great difference in how you present things in many ways, politically, socially, financially. You do a great job.
Download the new 1017 The Truth app now. Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 The Truth.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do little wiggles.
The slate's coming in.
What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
He's just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth, hit subscribe, and you'll be able to do a couple of things. Participate in our YouTube poll. And we do a YouTube poll every single day just to ask you guys a question. Maybe it's related to the show and the topics. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I want to know the answers and the results of our YouTube polls just for my own edification so I can get to know the audience a little bit better. And today we asked you a very simple yes or no question. Do you celebrate Black History Month? 37% of you do not. But then Rhea brought something to my attention, and she said, well, like how? How do you celebrate? Maybe people don't do anything in particular, but they commemorate. Maybe they read a book. Maybe they go and try and find out something new. They do some research. So however you give respect to this month in which we fill in the gaps that exist in American history, because it is not compulsory to teach African American history to graduate from most public high schools and or universities. It is not required. But I have to know a certain amount of American history, absent Black history, and European history. I have to know a certain amount of ancient history. I have to know the history of the different wars. I got to know the history of the Holocaust. That actually is compulsory education, and it should be. But there also should be other parts of history that are compulsory / required as well, because when African Americans are unknown in this society, then we can be defined by the actions of just a few of us. Which, let me do a side note on that. We got to stop doing that. We have to stop defining ourselves by the actions of a few. We still do this thing. I'm going to explain it to you as best I can. You almost have to be Black to understand it, because white folks, it's foreign to them. When you hear about a crime, maybe a violent one, maybe it was a robbery and homicide, whatever, some awful, awful violent occurrence, and we may hear the news, but we may not see the television, and we're just hoping and praying like, oh, I hope they're not Black. I hope this terrible crime that was committed by this person, I hope they're not Black, because we internalize the things that other Black people do because we know that we are going to get judged by the actions, the worst actions of other Black people. We got to stop that. A white person will be in the damn Epstein files. And there's a lot of them. But we don't look at all white people as pedophiles. Imagine if, whether it's the Epstein files or something similar, where 35 or 40% of the people that were in them doing heinous things were Black. All Black people would pay a price for that. We have to start separating ourselves from people that do heinous things, because white folks don't do that. Like, white folks they shoot up schools. We don't think that all white people are school shooters. They potentially can be, but we don't look at them as school shooters. So their populations are big enough, or at least they used to be, to where there's so many of them, and white people are so incredibly diverse that when a white person commits a crime or does something heinous, we don't generalize it to all of them. We do that to Black people because I think this society still does not know who we are, and we're still defined by the war on drugs, and we're still defined by segregation, and defined by poverty, and defined by mass incarceration. Those were epochs in Black history, but then if you think about some of those negative epochs in our long and beautiful and complicated history, that was the stuff that white folks did to us because they were afraid of us or something. Afraid we'd take their daughters to prom. Your daughters want to go to prom with us. We're innocent victims in all of this. Learn to put your daughters in check. Who's disappearing? The white population in the United States has experienced a steady decline in both absolute numbers and as a percentage of the total population, primarily due to more deaths than births and relatively low immigration rates. this information I'm about to provide to you is staggering. I didn't know it was this bad. Now I understand their panic. Now, we got to be clear. Donald Trump, during this term, will be the first American president who will absolutely, unequivocally preside over a nation that is losing population. Even if our population was growing at 0.5% or 1% or 1.2%, every other previous president of this nation has presided over a growing and expanding American population, which is a good thing. The more people, the more opportunity, the more things are created, the more old problems get sorted out. Having a shrinking population does not bode well for the future of this nation. But when I give you the rest of the details about how quickly white people are shrinking, my question is, where are you guys going? Where are you going? You're not all going to Mars on SpaceX. I need some answers, and I need them before I get off the air today. Because we need some whites to stay. You can't all leave. Who am I going to tailgate with? The non-Hispanic white population in the United States has experienced a steady decline in both absolute numbers and as a percentage of the total American population, primarily due to more deaths than births and relatively low immigration rates. Maybe we need to recruit more whites from South Africa. Let's give them some land, maybe. The white alone population decreased from 223,600,000 in 2010 to 204 million in 2020. Wait, am I reading this right? The white alone population decreased from 223,600,000 in 2010 to 204,300,000 in 2020. 20 million white people left in 10 years. Hello, where are you going? Are you all living off the grid? Y'all, that's 10% of the population in 10 years. There are more consequences to this that I'm going to get to in a little bit, but that's a staggering number of disappearances. From 2023 to 2024, the white population declined by another 0.1% or 461,612 individuals, while the overall U.S. population grew at 10 times the rate. In a single year, America lost 461,000. That's a whole congressional district. 461,612 whites were lost from 2023 to 2024, while the non-white population grew at 1% to 340 million. People of color essentially grew at 10 times the rate as white people. They declined by 0.1 of a point. Every other minority group in this country grew by 1%. As a share of the total population, non-Hispanic whites decreased from 76% in 1990 to 57% last year, with projections indicating they will be less than 50%. Well, this article says 2045. I think it could be a lot sooner than that. Between April of 2020 and July of 2023, the white population declined by 2,100,000, offset by gains in other racial and ethnic groups. This trend driven by an aging demographic and birth rates below replacement levels. This is why they wanted to ban abortion. Black and Latino women may be having abortions at a higher per capita rate, but there still are more white women than those other two races combined. So even if white women are having like a 3% abortion rate, that is terminating more pregnancies than if Latino and black women have a 5 or a 10% pregnancy termination rate. This demographic shift has contributed to, this is the important part. This is why it's a big deal for us, because I talk about education a lot, because I don't want to say that education is a great equalizer. It isn't. But few good things come with a lack of education. So I'm not going to sit here and say it makes everything even and level. It does not. Because if you are in high caliber education, you already have a tremendous head start on someone who is in lower tiered education. So even education itself is segregated. The kids that go to the schools that are better funded and better resourced have a tremendous advantage over the kids that go to school in lower funded institutions. Even though the kids in the lower funded institutions are really smart and they're getting something out of the curriculum, the children that are better prepared because they got better technology and they got more teachers and more specialists and small class sizes are going to have an advantage, and they likely are going to maintain that advantage throughout their lives and in the American economy. The following examples highlight the rural and suburban districts with majority white populations, typically about 70 to 90% white based on U.S. Department of Education data, have implemented closures and consolidations due to enrollment declines. So I just watched the news this morning, and that is what inspired me to dig into this. And they're trying to combine West Bend West and West Bend East, which since my entire life, those have been two schools. They're connected, but it's like 2,000 kids in each school. So when I was growing up, West Bend East and West Bend West were just these two behemoth, gigantic high schools. But it's kind of a misnomer because those schools would serve like a 2 or 3 county radius. Whereas, an example, in Milwaukee, a single MPS high school will serve a zip code. Where up there, it's several counties because the populations are so sparse. You got to combine all the kids in the surrounding areas to one school. But they are losing so much population because this is where it's beginning. In rural and suburban white America, the decline of the white population is more evident there, and they're closing schools left and right. So here's what we're going to dig into on the other side. I'm going to take a break, come back. When there are less white children, there is less overall money being invested in education. Now, I'm going to make this relevant for Milwaukee because I want us to have a comprehensive understanding of this. I used to think that as MPS became much more of a brown and majority minority district, that's why the curriculum was watered down, and that is why children are not at or above grade level in reading and math. No, because when white kids leave, they take more money and more resources with them when they leave, when they disappear, when white people are not having children, and that impacts the overall bottom line budget of the money we even have to educate black kids. So here's what I want you whites to do. Okay, listen real good. I'm gonna need y'all to start having babies. No, I'm serious. I need y'all to do like the Catholics. Catholics that have 14 kids in a week. Just have. I'm serious. Do you need to be taught how? It's really easy. I just need the whites to make more people, because as you guys are disappearing, and I don't even know where you guys are going. I thought you loved America. But we need more of you. So seriously. Valentine's Day is coming up, okay? Gonna need you guys to be romantic and you know what I mean? Ladies, let your man know when you're ovulating. Put it on the calendar. Text it to him. Have a shared ovulation calendar. Seriously, you guys are fading away. And then as you're fading away, you're getting mad at us, the black people. We know how to hump. Y'all need some instructions. All right, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
On Sunday afternoon, the Milwaukee Panthers continue their homestand as they welcome in conference foe, the Cleveland State Vikings, to UWM Panther Arena.
Panthers haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. Franklin driving to the rack. Goes up. It goes in. Count it. And the foul. And Big Frank goes down after.
Scott Warris has the coverage Sunday starting at 1:30 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 2 o'clock.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
I'm Angela Bassett. As a first responder on screen, I know what it means to act fast in an emergency. In real life, the same urgency can save lives, especially when it comes to a food allergy. For 33 million Americans, one bite can turn an ordinary meal into a life-threatening reaction. And too often, they don't have the one thing that could save them: epinephrine. But emergencies don't wait. And when a severe reaction happens, being prepared makes all the difference. Now, there's a needle-free option, a new way to carry epinephrine that makes it easier than ever to be ready. No needles, no hesitation, because when the unexpected happens, the best thing you can do is be ready. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready to act.
Gruber Law Offices, serving the people of Wisconsin for over 30 years. Call us today if you've been injured. Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of the Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You can text us too at 833-212-1017. I need to do a better job of reading those. The text messages at 833. You can call too, or you can chat in real time right along with what I'm saying via YouTube. Search 1017 The Truth on YouTube and hit subscribe, please. So the rapid decline in white population is taking a tremendous amount of resource out of just the public, and especially in education, because how we fund education, it's somewhat complicated, but it's easy to understand. So it's based on property taxes. That first and foremost is what is likely going to fund the school in your area, your attendance area, your zip code. But overall, we invest about $15,000 per child in public education. If there are less children, there's less $15,000 investments, right? So let's say we have 1 million children in the state of Wisconsin. $15,000 per child would be $1.5 billion. And then let's say that number goes down to 1 million children because of the precipitous decline in white population. So where we had 1.5 billion, now we now have $1 billion. Problem is, the minority, African American, Latino, Hispanic, and Asian populations are increasing, but not increasing at a level that can replace how the white population is declining. So we are looking at deficits. So here's what I'm telling the whites to do. It's very simple. Hump. Seriously, doesn't even take long. I don't know, 30 seconds? You know, we're not running marathons here. You don't have to make it an all-night thing. Nobody has that kind of time. It's ridiculous. Like, oh, I like to make love all night. You're insane. I want to see if there's any new episodes of my favorite show on. I don't need all night. The only thing that I want to do all night is sleep. Seriously. I don't want to. Hell, I don't even like to drive for 30 minutes. You know? And I got a car that drives itself, and I'm still like, oh, this is taking forever. I'm going to give you some examples of how bad it is. Oh, and I also have a list of like 15 or 20 retailers that are closing, and I want to provide that information to you because I'm also sick of this stupid narrative. Oh, well, the Walgreens in the black community is closing because people are stealing. It's 20 major retailers that are closing all over the country and not necessarily in black communities. But for some reason, if a Macy's goes out of business in a white community, we don't say, oh, because white people are stealing. And let me be clear, white people steal everything. But isn't that weird, though, how if we find out about, oh, a CVS in the black community is closing, oh, that's because they're stealing. Well, yeah, there's always theft. But you know where most theft comes from in retail outlets? Employees, internal shrinkage. They steal more than shoplifters do because the employees, they just go in the back and put stuff in their pockets. I would not know about that. I don't know if I've ever worked in retail in my life, but I'm just saying it's a lot easier to steal when you work there because you're not getting accused of shoplifting like someone that the security is following around the store, you see. But I want to try and clear up these stereotypes because with all of this information we have and all of this access to information that we have and all of this Google that we have, by the way, Google has scrubbed any references to black history off of its main page because they are respecting DEI is now a thing of the past. Terribly unfortunate, but these are the times that we are living in. But we would never say, oh, well, this store is closing because white people steal. But in a black community, that's exactly the first thing that people say. So I want to give you guys a better picture of, well, first of all, the U.S. economy is contracting, and it's going to continue to do so. Do you want to know why? I'll give you a couple of guesses. You guys are really smart people. A lot of the industries that supply some of our big box retailers are either heavily tariffed or rely on immigrant labor. We are shrinking the American economy because of this administration's hatred for people. And their hatred for people is going to drive more people into poverty, and there's going to be less jobs and less opportunity. At the same time, everything is going to get more expensive. I'm not going to answer the question anymore of, oh, this is what the Donald Trump people voted for. Is this what they voted for? Yes, all of it. And the things he is planning on doing. They voted for all of it. They voted for his worst impulses because there's a difference. And I want to do another distinction here. So we're going to do a couple of distinctions here. We're going to illustrate the white population's decline and how that has impacted resources that we need to educate our children. Going to give you some details on all of these retailers that are closing. And no, it's not because black people are stealing. Because white people steal more. White people steal other people. Like the Epstein files. Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff on the Epstein files. I don't even know how much of it I can even get into because it's bad. But white people steal little girls, steal their innocence, steal Native American land. White people stole black people. A lot of us. Like not like 30 or 40. You know what I mean? So why are you always saying, oh, black people steal? Like a pack of chewing gum, sure. Pack of juicy fruit, put that in our pocket, no harm, no foul. Black people are not going to New Berlin and just stealing a whole white family. Because first of all, what do you feed them? That's the first thing. Donald Trump just stole the president of Venezuela and his wife. Talk about black people do all this stealing. How do you just go steal two people? And here's what's crazy. I don't even know where they are. 15,000 U.S. troops it took to steal two people. Isn't that insane? They've spent Because everybody's always concerned about, oh, the federal government is spending all of our money and, we need to be more, I don't know, judicious with our spending, and the government is too big and it spends too much money. I remember a time when the Republicans were big sticklers for government spending. They didn't like it. Now, they didn't want to spend money on, entitlement programs, welfare, Medicare, Medicaid. But now they'll spend money on anything. $500 million they spent in 2025 on deploying ICE and CBP agents to a handful of cities. That's wild, right? $500 million just sending people to American cities? Sending people to American cities to protect the border. Jefferson County Public Schools, 75%, and Colorado. I don't know why they're combining the two. Jefferson County Public Schools, not here in Wisconsin, in Colorado. 75% white and suburban. Enrollment fell by 10% from 2012 to 2021. So I got examples of just all over the country. It's not just a Wisconsin thing, because I saw this story on the news this morning where West Bend West and West Bend East are now going to be combined into one high school, which, when I think about it, is almost unheard of, because those schools used to have like 3,000 and 4,000 students combined, and now the populations are getting so small, and white people in suburban areas and exurban areas and rural areas are having so few kids that they're combining what were two behemoth high schools into one. And then we're doing this other thing too, and I've seen this around here, more in suburban school districts than in urban school districts, because I don't like this thing that they do. You guys know that they do this thing. When people aren't having kids and populations are declining, they call it right sizing. We got to right size the district, or they don't really use downsize. We got to right size the district. When they combine a middle school and a high school, that's common. And sometimes they'll have an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, all in one building. Don't do that. Why would you do that? Because then you got seniors, some of whom are 19, in the same building with 7-year-olds. No. I don't like when they do that. But they got to right size the district. They got to downsize the district. Back in my day, we had separate schools for everything. There was a separate elementary school. And when you went into the elementary school, guess what you found? Elementary school kids. And then there was a middle school. And when you went into the middle school, guess what you found? Yep, you guys are smart. Middle school kids. Oh, and then there, of course, was the high school. Brown Deer High School. The Mighty, Mighty Falcons. I think I still remember our fight song. We're from Brown Deer High, our banner's in the sky. We're from Brown Deer High, fighting with all our might. You rah rah, we will win this game. Fighting for newfound fame, our team will fight with all their might. The Falcons you can never tame. You rah rah, Brown Deer High School. You rah rah, Brown Deer High School. I'm surprised I remember that. It's quite simple, though. Aren't all high school fight songs that exact same thing? They probably don't vary much from that. But when you went to Brown Deer High School, it was just 9th through 12th grade. Now they combine everything. Jefferson County Public Schools in suburban Colorado, 75% white student body. Enrollment fell 10% from 2012 to 2021, approximately from 80,000 to 69,526 students. With 68 neighborhood schools operating below 80% capacity. In 2022, the district closed an additional 16 elementary schools to address a $702 million budget for fewer students. So as we got to combine all these things so we can have a better picture of why you're going to get another referendum. I don't care where you're listening from. You could be listening from Milwaukee, and a lot of you are, but you could be listening from Racine County or Kenosha County or Walworth County or Waukesha County or Ozaukee County or Washington County or even Dodge County. Your schools are going to go to referendum too for a couple of reasons. School boards can no longer raise taxes like they could prior to Scott Walker being elected governor. So Scott Walker signed a bill into law that said school boards can't independently raise property taxes, they have to ask the voters first. But if you have enough student body population, you're getting $15,000 to $16,000 per child. But if there are less children, you're going to have to make up for your education expenses, paying teachers and the curriculum and having technology and having all these other things by going to referendum. Take a break, come back, talk about other school districts around the country that, and these places I'm going to name are way exacerbated. It's like people aren't having kids at all. Why do y'all hate kids so much? Because they're loud, obnoxious, disrespectful, boisterous. They're really expensive. They're little germ factories. I thought you guys loved all those things about kids. Sometimes they disappear. Could you imagine going to the store with 3 kids and all of a sudden you look around and you only got 2? That's got to suck. Like, I swear I had 3 kids when I came in here. Oh, well, they'll find their way home. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. He's the voice for the people and the community's connection to change.
I caught an Uber in the evening, and my show comes on. The playback is at 6. It comes on, my show comes on at 6 to 9. The driver was Somalian, and I was just, in the back seat. And so he was listening to my show, and we was talking about what was going on in Minnesota.
What was his take?
No, he liked my show. He liked it. He liked my show. He didn't know it was me, though. He didn't know that the person that was on the radio was in his back seat. So what was funny was I was listening to me and listening to how he was listening to the show. And so I asked him, I said, you like that show? And he was like, oh, yeah, I love that show.
The Tory Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m., live on YouTube and right here on 101.7 The Truth.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
Pollution from trucks is a public health crisis. Diesel-burning trucks belch dangerous levels of pollution, and communities living near ports and along freight corridors breathe especially high levels of this dirty air. But this crisis has a solution. My name is Sasan Sadat, and I work for Earth Justice. I'm working to clean up our air quality, particularly for communities that bear the burden of diesel pollution. For the sake of our lungs, our health, and our climate, the future of trucking in this country has got to be zero emissions. Until then, I will never rest.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Back to the crib, did round two. I don't even know how the hell I even found you. I got the key to a car and a house too.
So I'm going to continue to give you guys examples of how white populations in this country are just disappearing like the great Houdini. In fact, that is what we titled the show today. the great Houdini. They are disappearing. And when white people are declining in population, they're not having children, that impacts local budgets. So when you have less children, that is less money that is invested in public education. And minority populations, while increasing, are not increasing at the level in which white populations are decreasing, which also is a reason for some of the policy that you see coming out of this administration. Because, yes, there is a great replacement theory. If white people are declining in population, one of the stats I read is that from 2023 to 2024, white people lost 400,000 people, right? Population declined by 0.1%. At the same time, minority populations increased by 1%. That is a 10x difference between the increase in minority populations and a decrease in white populations. So when you have open borders and more people coming here from other countries that are bringing kids, and their average age is what we call pre-reproductive, as time goes on, those minorities and those people from third world countries that are immigrating to the United States, and not just through South America, Central America, but from the Caribbean, they are younger, they are bringing children, and as time goes on, when their children reach reproductive age, their populations are going to continue to go up. And as time goes on, the white populations are going to go down even further. And so all of this is a part of a great realignment where we're going to have to look at America as a much different place, a place where people of color and minorities are going to be the overwhelming majority. It will be us and our children that will be funding these public institutions because we will have the population. People keep asking me about the salt, the road salt. What? So there's a shortage of road salt because it snowed a lot. Like, somebody texted me and asked me, "Oh, Sherwin, can you talk about the salt shortage? Do you guys know it snowed like 3 days a week for the last month?" That number one. Number two, tariffs. Where do you think we get our sodium chloride from? Mexico and Canada. Okay, so when your city puts together a budget, they say, okay, here's what the average snowfall is. Here's how much road salt we used over the last 10 years. It's been about $6 million. All right, let's budget $6 million for road salt this year. Sometimes you can't accurately predict weather patterns. Let's just say $6 million is what we've spent. And sometimes you have a surplus because there have been years where the city of Milwaukee, I'm just using random round numbers. There have been years where the city of Milwaukee has budgeted $6 million for salt, but we only use $1 million worth of the salt. So sometimes you got a surplus. But you budget about $6 million. Well, we had a particularly snowy winter, and the winter's not done yet because I guess the little groundhog saw his shadow, so we got 6 more weeks of winter. It snowed again today. I was out last night, not late, but the roads were dry. I wake up in the morning, it's snow in my driveway. When your city budgets $6 million for salt, and Donald Trump's tariffs on Mexico and Canada, where we import a lot of our road salt from, and let's just say that tariff is 25%. So now our $6 million budget for road salt is now $7.5 million. Now remember, we already budgeted $6 million, so we got to find an additional $1.5 million to pay for the tariffs that Donald Trump has levied on Mexico and Canada. That's why you got a shortage. Now, what do you do for that $1.5 million? Some folks don't understand that governments don't print money. Local governments don't print money. So the city of Milwaukee has got a budget shortfall of $1.5 million. Some of y'all think, well, the city just has money. No, that means we got to lay off cops and firefighters. We have to stop providing some other service to make up for the additional $1.5 million in tariffs that this president is costing us. And we had a snowy winter. Are you satisfied now? One more person asked me about the damn salt. Damn it. I know that I'll go to the hardware store. They got plenty of salt. Go buy some salt. Plenty of it. The Alpine School District in Utah is 85% white, facing a 2 to 4% annual enrollment drop due to regional birth rate declines. Utah, that's where the Mormons are. I thought the Mormons have many children. The district voted in 2024 to close 2 additional elementary schools over the next 2 years, consolidating students into nearby facilities to reduce operational costs against underutilized buildings. Vermont. So these are majority white states, losing population like crazy. 90% white student body in the state of Vermont. Vermont lost 20% of its K-12 public school students over the last 2 decades, from 100,000 to 80,000, prompting mergers under Act 46 that eliminated dozens of districts and closed small schools. In 2025, proposals to further consolidate targeted areas like Peacham and Worcester, where districts like Washington Central Supervisory Union considered closing Doty Memorial High School due to enrollments below 50% per grade. Here you go. Good old Wisconsin. Rural Wisconsin districts are 80% white student body. From 2012 to 2017, 67% of rural districts saw enrollment declines of at least 1% and as high as 10% every year, exceeding suburban 0.3% decline and urban rates. This led to consolidations in districts like those in northern and western regions, where funding pressures from per-pupil age shortfalls forced closures or mergers to maintain services amid a 20 to 30% drop in student numbers in some communities. So overall, as I am lamenting about the poor performance of Milwaukee public school students, and I have to be concerned about that because I want the city of Milwaukee to have a future workforce. And if we are graduating children that cannot read proficiently, and reading proficiently is not like high level. It's like you can read the newspaper. You can read and understand what was in this Teen Beat magazine. Do people still read Teen Beat? I'm not sure. Tiger Beat. Hip Hop Beat. So if we can't graduate young people that are reading at a proficient level, now it's not that they won't catch up. Some of them will. We found out some years ago that it's not just here in Milwaukee, it's all over the country, where a lot of children are graduating. I shouldn't say they're children, they're adults. They're graduating below proficiency in reading and math, but then they may go on to college. But they, on average, have got to take about 2 additional years of remedial classes in college to catch up so they can begin working on their coursework for their major. Well, that averages an additional, that's 6 years of college to get a 4-year degree. That means you're borrowing more money. That means that black students that come from underperforming districts are spending 6 years worth of tuition as opposed to 4. So there's an additional cost on those students because they came out of school with remedial levels of reading and math. The Biden administration said because that's not fair, because the low performance of these districts, and sometimes the performance of the district, is based upon white enrollment declines in other parts of the state, so there's less overall money being invested in education, and it's impacting black and minority students. And because their numbers are so low and they got to take these additional years of college courses, their student loans are higher. So Joe Biden said, let's forgive them. That was the impetus behind student loan forgiveness. Now, they gave you a whole bunch of other reasons, like, college costs have gone up, and, someone who has been paying on their student loans for 20 years still owes $20,000 or $30,000. Yeah, but at the root of it, just like the root of the Affordable Care Act, was because African Americans were the least insured. There was the least amount of federal money invested in healthcare facilities in our community, and our life expectancies were reflecting that. Policy is not just made out of thin air. It's many, many years of research and data and details of who is suffering, how are they suffering, and how can we use public dollars to ease the suffering of Americans, because we need strong, healthy, smart, educated Americans so we can be competitive against countries like China. That's the whole point. But as the country is becoming more diverse, you're starting to see this attitude shift. It's almost like some Americans don't even care if we're non-competitive with other nations, because America is becoming browner and browner and blacker. And instead of seeing that as just the next incarnation of what this great nation can be, some people say, well, that's not America at all. Let's not even help these black students and these brown students. Let's close the border because we don't want America to exist if it's going to look non-white. And that is the attitude of a lot of people. And I think it also drives Trump policy, and it also drives the people to support him so vigorously even still. And to answer the other age-old question, is this what Trump supporters voted for, all these things he's doing? Yes. They voted for him as a person. And all of his criminality, all of his perversions, they voted for everything that comes with that. Now, to some extent, some of us voted for Barack Obama because we were just voting for him, but we got lucky because Obama was an actual problem solver and a policy maker. Trump is not. Trump is someone who has horrible impulses and just is not right to fit. He's not right nor fit to lead this nation. But there are some people that also aren't right and wouldn't be fit to lead this nation. That's why they see eye to eye with Donald Trump. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
Injured at work, unable to work due to health problems, or denied veteran benefits you're entitled to? Last year, Tayback Law returned over $73 million in wrongfully denied VA and Social Security benefits to people in our communities. Tayback Law celebrates Black History Month by bringing its message to 101.7 The Truth. The team is thrilled to see Milwaukee achieve this exciting new outlet for speaking truth to power. And Tayback Law is always ready to fight for you. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
We need to optimize the PID controller for smoother robotic movements.
Our data analysis shows a significant correlation between the variables in both control groups.
The test shows you've experienced an acute myocardial infarction.
As you'll see on the syllabus, this course will largely focus on the Mesozoic era.
Get your child the access every child deserves. Enroll your K through 8th grade child by February 28th at Milwaukee College Prep, mkeprep.com/enroll.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Metastatic breast cancer, or stage 4 breast cancer, happens when cancer spreads beyond the breast to other parts of the body. About 168,000 women are living with it today, with Black women at a higher risk due to various factors. Research has led to treatments that help manage the disease and improve quality of life. The Everyday Counts study explores how nutrition and exercise coaching can support women with metastatic breast cancer. To learn more about the Everyday Counts study in Milwaukee, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu. If you or someone you know has stage 4 breast cancer, please encourage them to call and enroll in this valuable study. Again, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Reggie says, Walgreens is good. So is J.C. Penney and Woolworths. Bro, are you talking about the 1940s retail? I mean, if one has been catching that cash since the 1880s, what do you think? They're all going out of business. In fact, JCPenney, I don't even know why JCPenney is still around. JCPenney used to be the Amazon before Amazon, because remember they come up with that gigantic Christmas catalog, be like 1,000 pages. And then after JCPenney, the Amazon before Amazon was eBay. Be honest, when was the last time you bought anything off of eBay? You're more likely to go to Facebook Marketplace. Be careful, though, buying things off of Facebook Marketplace. Pregnant lady went and bought something off Facebook Marketplace and she got stabbed a lot. So don't do it. You're supposed to meet at like a police station or something. You do your transactions with strangers in the lobby of a police station. And there are police stations that actually encourage that. Like, oh no, if you want to do your sales transaction. I suppose that's the safest place to do a transaction, because if somebody is shady or trying to rip you off, or if they're going to rob you. Because if you're going there to buy something from somebody off of Facebook Marketplace, clearly they know you have money, right? So you could be a candidate to be robbed. But I don't know. I wouldn't feel safe in a police station. All right, giving you guys details on how the white population is declining way faster than I think most of us knew, and it's impacting budgets and the investments in education. And as we are dealing with a climate here, an education climate here in Milwaukee, where we are not producing what I think is an educated enough workforce. And so somebody else brought up, because we talk about the trades and whatever we can do to try and get a workforce back and to get young black men earning money. People say, oh, well, we got to bring the trades back. And they will talk about many years ago when white student populations were larger and we had way bigger investments in public education, where you'd have metal shop and drafting, and you might have a welding class, you might have carpentry and HVAC in some of the high schools. You can't have that now. So people say, oh, we got to bring that back. We don't have the money because we don't have the student enrollment. We just don't have it. Unless we are going to take money from some other category, like how we fund healthcare or Badger Care, and put that in public education, which might make sense to some extent, or just to cut many different bloated areas of state government and invest more in education. It's one of the reasons why Tony Evers, he signed something in the budget where Republicans are mad, where it's a $400 increase every single year, something about 400 years or $400, where we're investing $400 every year per student or something in education for the next 300 or 400 years. He was able to restructure a sentence in the budget because our governors have line item vetoes where they can literally remake sentences in the actual budget. And Tony Evers reshaped and reshuffled the sentence to say, we're going to fund public education for the next 400 years and give school districts whatever dollar amount it was. But that's to make up for the loss of white population. We've got to find money from somewhere, because if there are less people, less children, then there's less money to invest in public education overall. So my solution is, because you got Valentine's Day coming up, the whites need to get busy. Get to humping. Wisconsin rural districts that are 80% white. From 2012 to 2017, 67% of rural districts saw enrollment declines of between 1% and 10%, exceeding suburban declines of 0.3%. This led to consolidations in districts like those in northern and western regions, where funding pressures from per-pupil age shortfalls faced closures of schools or mergers to maintain services, amid a 20 to 30% drop in student numbers in some communities. Even if I look back to my childhood in Milwaukee, all of the things that we had to do recreationally as children, shopping malls notwithstanding, we had mini golf courses in the city. We had more movie theaters. We even had budget movie theaters. You could go see a full-length movie for $1. We had bumper boats and go-karts. You can't do any of that stuff. But those things existed because there were more kids in the city of Milwaukee. Now these most recent generations, people aren't having kids. And rightfully so, because kids are very expensive. And they just walk around with the measles, too. So that's another reason why people are not having kids, because they don't want a measles factory. And you got to buy them stuff like shoes. You know what I mean? It's national trends. White population and school enrollment declines. Declining white student population across the United States. Public schools between the fall of 2019 and 2023 lost 2 million white students. That's an 8% drop overall and a 13% decline in 2014. Where are the kids? Are they going somewhere? Are you whites not telling us something? Because if you guys are going to like a secret special place, like I want to go, you guys got some kind of underground party cave that you're all going to? Because I refuse to believe that their populations are going down that quickly. Because if they are, like, this is an emergency. Let me find out the whites have an underground utopia where no blacks are invited. Playing nothing but disco music. Probably doing a lot of cocaine. Broader enrollment declines. Kindergarten enrollment dropped by 6%, elementary 4%, and middle school 6% nationally from 2019 to 2023, reflecting fewer children of all races, but greatest absolute losses amongst white students. Rural demographic context. Non-metro rural areas remain majority white, but their population is aging and shrinking, contributing most to school-aged children's decline. Then you got some real extreme examples: Vermont and New England, Kanawha County, West Virginia. Hendrick Community District in Iowa completely dissolved after a long-term and enrollment population decline, eventually merging into neighborhood districts because it could no longer sustain enough students or courses. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
Come in with straight truth.
If you acted up, if you were out here doing any kind of foolishness or just something that people know would make your family's name look bad, your neighbor from down the street, if they see the son or daughter, be like, what are you doing? They gonna call you out. They gonna let you know that they saw you, and then they gonna tell you, come here. Now you know I'm gonna tell your daddy.
That part.
There are a lot of times when people are new to an area, they don't know where to plug in. And anybody who plugs in the 101.7 The Truth and listen to you and Dame and Truth Nation would know that there is a significant public outcry when violence happens in our community. Don't worry about the outcry if you're not listening to the right people. So I would encourage her to tune in to 101.7 The Truth and listen to you guys, Denise Thomas, Dr. Ken Harris, Tori Lowe, and definitely Sherwin Hughes every day.
Watch all your favorite 101.7 The Truth shows by subscribing to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org. a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Fall in love again, a big friend, yeah. I like them cool and kinda cocky, not too much to make them move. And try to lock you, try to take away the jewels. You cannot stop it, gotta understand the rules. I've been the type to wear the heart on my sleeve. Been the one to always choose the wrong play. Not the type to ever see me lonely. I keep my socks on during loving. In and out, baby, in and out, can't play.
Welcome to hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. As promised, I said I was going to give you guys a list of the big, well-known retailers that are all slated to close. A lot of stores all over the country. And I want to just provide these examples because y'all think that because a Walgreens or a CVS closes in a black community, like, oh, it's because you black people are stealing. The vast majority of these big box retailers that are closing in white communities, and I want y'all to keep that same energy because white people must be stealing from JCPenney's. I don't like that stereotype that when a retail outlet, because a lot of times our communities were overbuilt. In the 1990s and early 2000s, we built too many damn Walmarts in the city of Milwaukee. Because prior to that, there were no Walmarts in the city of Milwaukee because we didn't need it. We had other places where we could shop. Then Walmart moves in, they oversaturated, and then when they closed the Walmarts because they overbuilt them, people say, oh, well, the Walmarts are closing because people are stealing. No, Walmart did really bad corporate planning. Overbuilt. We don't need that many damn Walmarts. I personally don't even like shopping at Walmart. If I'm at Walmart, something went wrong. That is not my preferred place to shop. I don't like it. I'm not a Walmart person. I didn't grow up going to Walmart. For some people, it's cultural. Like going to Walmart for them is like, oh, it's Sunday. Everybody put on your nice clothes. We going to Walmart. I didn't grow up like that. But there's a whole bunch of retailers that are closing. And maybe it is because white people are stealing. Because white people steal way more than us. Donald Trump just stole the president of Venezuela and his wife. White people have stole land, culture, music. Black people. The whole Epstein files is just page after page after page after page of human trafficking. It's so bad. Some of it, though, it's not real. Oh, so I don't want to get into the Epstein files. I said I was going to, but it's bad. It's worse than you think. Trump is named. So in the most recent documents, they dumped another 3 million pages, all of which have not been gone through by the media and by the press. But then there was so much. The reason why it took so long is they were trying to redact Trump's name. But his name appears so many times that they missed a few things. And some of the things that are in there are worse than you can imagine. It is explicit child sex abuse. Explicit. But let me say this. Some of the details that are in there have not been vetted and investigated. Like if somebody calls the FBI tip line and says, hey, I just saw Jay-Z do this, and this to a girl. They would log it, right? They would put those details in a file, but a lot of times it didn't get followed up on. So you have just random people's tips that are included verbatim in the Epstein files. Some of it is true, some of it is not, and I can't decipher what is and what is not true. But in the most recent document dump, Trump's name is mentioned 1,000 times. Where they didn't redact it. So where they forgot or they overlooked it or his name was in there so much that there was 1,000 examples of where they missed a line, missed a page, missed a paragraph here where Donald Trump is explicitly named.
I love the poorly educated.
You know what's crazy about that? People were more upset at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because of the price of eggs than a president that, if he is not a pedophile, he is pedophile adjacent. He was right there Right. He was in the room. He was right. He was on the island. A lot of it happened in Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago was mentioned too. But it doesn't matter. Even if you bring the issue up, Donald Trump still has 39% support on how he's handling immigration, and 9 people are dead. There are some folks that are so far gone. You can't reason with them. There is no logic because they voted for, and this is hard for some of us, like critical thinking people that actually care about democracy, that actually want to move the needle forward, that actually sees the great potential of what this country can be. Like there's us and then there's them. They voted for whoever Donald Trump is, even on his worst days. We oftentimes vote for people based upon what policies they will create and support that will help people. Trump ain't helping nobody. He's not. You're not helped. You're not doing better now than you were. You're not more employed. You're not making more money. None of that. And people got to make stuff up. Well, it was 32 degrees yesterday, so there's that. We know why you voted for him. And now more than ever, it speaks specifically and clearly about who you are. And I'm not taking that away from you. In fact, I want all y'all to wear red hats. Because the last thing I need is to be confused and think that somebody actually is with us and on our side, like on the right side of history, and they ended up being a Trumper. But here's what's really going to happen. I'm going to predict it right now. 15 years from now, you ain't going to be able to find a single person that voted for Trump because everybody's going to deny it. Because things are going to get worse over the next 3 years. I promise you. I'm just nervous. If I'm nervous about anything, it's not necessarily the wars. I think a lot of countries are standing down because they know how crazy Donald Trump is, and he will start a nuclear war just because he's bored. So I think a lot of countries are not really challenging the authority and the might of the United States, but that's going to be temporary. They're going to exact revenge on us at some point, just probably not when Trump is president. It's going to happen. And it's going to be, we'll deal with that when it comes. But I'm worried about how he's going to federalize our elections because recently, I want you to pay a little more attention to this now. Of all the things that are happening, he's relitigating the 2020 election. And now some of his surrogates and some of his cabinet members, they're bringing up 2020 again, even though he lost that election. And what's crazy about it is not only did he lose that election, like, dude, why would you complain about an election that you lost? And you're president now. Like, it all worked out for you. It probably worked out even better. Because had he won in 2020, he would be termed out right now. He wouldn't even be president right now. But he is litigating the 2020 election, and it went to court, and there were subpoenas, and they looked at everything. What we found is it was the most secure and accurate election we've ever had because there was so much scrutiny on the systems and on the voting machines, and we thought maybe foreign actors were involved. They over-scrutinized that 2020 election, and it was fair, and Joe Biden won. End of story. But the fact that Donald Trump is not putting it back out there that the 2020 election was stolen from him, it gives him like a pretext for federalizing our elections in November. And this is what I'm worried about. Apparently he went on a pretty major tirade last night. They said he posted 7 times in 3 minutes about a Democrat that won in Texas 9. There was a special election. It must have been, I don't know why I was just hearing about it over the weekend. It must have been on Tuesday. So Texas 9 is a state Senate district that we otherwise wouldn't care about. We would never pay attention to a state Senate district in Texas. But there was something unique that went on that made the president irate. Really, Trump is scared. So when Trump tweets and when he posts a lot, he's scared. So just keep that in mind because you got to know how to read him. So he posted 7 times in 3 minutes about Texas 9. Texas 9, the 9th state Senate district in Texas, has been a Republican stronghold for 35 years. Doesn't matter who is running, doesn't matter. Democrats can't win, so for 35 years. So that goes back to what? 1991. It has been a stronghold for Republicans. And Trump won Texas 9 by like 17 points most recently. A Democrat just won in that district. That was redistricted and drawn and gerrymandered to always be Republican. So here's what you have. You have Trump supporters in that district, and there's going to be others now, in that Texas State Senate district. It's not like a bunch of Democrats moved into that district and voted for the Democratic candidate. No. Republicans, people that have kept that district Republican for more than a generation, decided that they want to vote for the Democrat. And Donald Trump had an absolute fit because he knows what that means for him. Typically, I would say if there was a congressional district that Trump won by 4 or 5 points, maybe 6 points in 2024, those could potentially be flipped with a really good Democratic candidate that campaigns hard, that's on the issues and raises a bunch of money. Now you're looking at districts that have been drawn Republican, have been Republican for 35 years are flipping. And I think that the Democrat won by double digits. Do you know how impossible of a feat that is?
Damn.
A district that was Republican for 35 years was flipped in Texas, of all places. As red a state as you can get. Now Texas is getting a little bit bluer, a little bit. But that was a district that was always drawn. It was drawn to always be Republican. So Trump, I guess he had a fit. So if he thinks that Democrats are going to get the majority in the House of Representatives in the fall, he's going to do something. I know he's going to do something because right now, all the things he's doing, no one is stopping him. I think that having ICE and Customs and Border Patrol in cities and potentially the National Guard, because this is going to be a crime-ridden summer, I can already tell. And he's going to send these agents and send the paramilitary organizations and send the National Guard into, of course, blue sanctuary cities because I think they're going to federalize the election. Because he's relitigating the 2020 election, he's bringing that up now. He's going to continue to talk about it. I know he's going to continue to talk about it. He's going to sow fear and doubt in the legitimacy in the midterm elections come this November, and I think they're going to do something because Trump cannot let the Democrats get in control of the House of Representatives. You know how many seats the Democrats need? 4. If what happened in Texas, and so basically any election that we have had in 2025, and there were several. There was some governor's races. There were some special elections where somebody retires or something, and then they have a special election. Democrats won in 70% of every single election in 2025, even in Republican areas. So this doesn't bode well for Trump. Do you think Trump is just going to sit back and just let the Democrats win and put his Republican Party? Because he owns the Republican Party. He owns it. He has zero stock in the Democratic Party. In fact, the Democrats are ready to go to war with dude. They're trying to impeach him now. They're trying to impeach Kristi Noem now. She is dumb as a box of rocks. No, that's mean. Let me apologize. I'm apologizing to boxes of rocks because that's embarrassing for them to be compared to Kristi Noem. This is a woman who, she shot her dog. You didn't hear about that, Zach? It's like she killed her dog, and she admitted it. Oh, yeah, I shot my dog because it had a broken paw or something. She's I just murdered it. You can't, people love dogs. Let's talk to Linda. Hello, Linda.
Good morning, Professor. And good morning to all the beautiful black and white people of 101.7 The Truth in Milwaukee. Hallelujah. That's left out. Okay, Sherwin. Man, I'm triggered, Sherwin, and I've been trying to be quiet about it, but
you haven't been trying to.
Yeah.
Why are you triggered, Linda?
You're so funny. You're so funny, man. I need you for real to keep my frequency up, keep my vibe up but anyway, yeah, I think it's karma, Sherwin. I think it's universal karma that the Caucasian population is declining, and they are getting scared, as we know, because the Supreme Court has done what it's done to reverse this reckoning. But yes, karma is a bee, and it's happening, and we are watching it. This is what I think, Sherwin. We are in the wash of racism, right? We confronting it, that ugly disease of America, and it's reckoning. It's reckoning time for racism and that great white lie. Hello, somebody. Yes, I'm just so excited because We're all talking about it. It's all up in our face. Black, white, yellow, red. We got to talk about it. We have to address it within ourselves and this system and the creators of this lie. Yes, as an educator, we are going through the wash to learn about racism and its ugliness and the universe. The divine creator, hello somebody, is finally reckoning racism, hello, by causing that rotten fruit, to destroy itself. And honey, let me tell you, I'm trying to tell you, we're going through the wash and we're going to get to the rinse. And guess what? Like I said before, black people will eradicate racism in this country. Hello, somebody. I believe it. I know what you said. It's not going away, but definitely it won't be the way it used to be. It won't be the way it has been because people are realizing that it's a disease by choice. And there's good white people and non-black people who are learning that black people they're good black people and that lie has contaminated their perspective of another human, and they're realizing how a lie can disease your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. All of this is a learning experience as an educator. I can see it, and I know we're going to get through it. This is the great reset of America. Greatest disease.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. That's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
The award-winning 101.7 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. All month long, we're honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know, and Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Tune in all month long as 101.7 The Truth lifts up the legacy, the brilliance, and the power of Black history. Because Black history isn't just history, it's happening every day. 101.7 The Truth's celebration of Black History Month is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 101.7 The Truth.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
This Friday night, we have a city conference showdown as the Milwaukee Juneau Pioneers battle the Carmen Northwest Eagles. Fast breaks, big shots, and bragging rights on the line. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The City Conference Game of the Week on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com is sponsored by Milwaukee Public Schools and presented by Gruber Law Offices.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. and I never had much stuff because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The thing called a bam bam. There was all Jamaican. With a different style, different fashion. You know? Tell me, say one thing Nancy can't understand. One thing Nancy can't understand. What make them a talk about me ambition? Say what make them a talk about me ambition? Come and say some of them a ask me where me get it from. Just some of them a ask me where me get it from. I told them no, it's from creation. I told them no, it's from creation. Bam bam, ayo, what a bam bam, bam bam, dila, bam bam bam.
20 major retailers are closing permanently in 2026. The retail world just isn't changing. It's crumbling for some of the biggest names in the game. Once packed stores are turning into ghost towns. And by the end of 2026, several major retailers will be nothing more than a memory. Whether it's due to skyrocketing costs, shifting shopping habits, or simply failing to keep up with the times, these brands couldn't survive the storm. Tariff says a lot of it because a lot of the things that these retailers sell are made overseas. And contrary to popular belief, if something made in China or Vietnam or Bangladesh or India has got a tariff on it, American companies are not going to invest billions of dollars into factories and creating that infrastructure to make the products that were created overseas. It's not going to happen. The whole tariff argument. So the Supreme Court has got a case in front of them, and because they're taking so long in releasing their decision, I know what it's going to be. Donald Trump doesn't have the ability to levy tariffs. You guys know that? He can't. Only Congress can do it. But guess what? Congress let him. I'm not kidding you. Donald Trump has no statutory, constitutional, or executive authority. It doesn't exist. Presidents can't put tariffs on other countries. Only Congress can. But they let him. And so the Supreme Court is going to say, yeah, it's unconstitutional. So all of the tariffs that were paid are going to have to be paid back. And guess where it's going to come from? The federal budget. All of these tariffs are illegal, but look at the fallout. I got a list of 20 retailers that are going out of business and are closing 30, 40, 50, 60 branches in some cases because of the tariffs, and the tariffs are unconstitutional. And Donald Trump still has like 47% support amongst Republicans. Amongst the country, like 80% amongst Republicans. Amazon Fresh, well, we knew that wasn't going to last. Amazon Fresh was supposed to revolutionize grocery shopping, smart stores with no cashiers, and seamless tech integration. But in 2025, Amazon officially pulled the plug on its struggling grocery chain. The signs were there. The company recently announced the closing of some Amazon Fresh locations in California and Virginia after deciding the format may have not been right for those areas. Some stores sat half empty, while others quietly stopped expanding. Shoppers never fully embraced the concept, and traditional grocery chains fought back with their own digital upgrades. Even Amazon's deep pockets couldn't keep Amazon Fresh afloat. Forever 21. Once a staple for budget-friendly fashion, it's officially shutting down after surviving bankruptcy in 2019. The brand Forever 21 never fully regained its footing. Changing consumer habits, a shift towards sustainable fashion, and the decline of mall shopping contributed to its downfall. Macy's. Is that because white people are stealing from Macy's is why they're closing? Because if there was a Macy's in the black community was closing, that's the first thing y'all would say. Do I need to repeat myself again? White people steal way more. Music, ideas, land, culture, recipes. Black people, they steal innocence and children. They steal way more. Black people will steal your car. We'll snatch your Kia. We will, but we won't take your whole culture. You know what I mean? We won't steal all of your kids. And just steal your daughter on prom night. I'll bring her back. Bring her back with cornrows and gold teeth. Hey, yo, daddy, I had a good time with Jamal at prom. That's got to be a white man's worst nightmare. Somebody said something on the social media. They said to a racist, they posted in the comments. Comment sections are gold sometimes. Like the humor that I see in comment sections. I don't know, it was some racist white guy going on some rant. And if somebody put in the comments, "Sir, may all of your grandchildren be black." Woo! I know that cut deep. Sometimes those real racist white guys, when their daughter or their son marries and has kids with somebody black and they got biracial grandchildren, they end up loving them kids more than they ever thought possible. Or they disown them. It's one or the other. It's like, oh, look at my little black niglet grandchildren. Come here, little. Despite efforts to modernize, Macy's struggled with declining foot traffic and high operating costs. The famous holiday window displays at Macy's and in-store shopping experiences are going to be a thing of the past. Macy's has played an important role in American retail for over 100 years. But this year, it's closing 66 stores as part of a new long-term strategy that focuses on other brands in their portfolio. Dollar General, they have been a lifeline for shoppers on a budget, offering affordable groceries, household essentials, and last-minute necessities, especially in small towns and rural areas. However, the company has struggled to keep up with economic pressures and changing shopping habits, leading to widespread closures. So Dollar General is closing because the increased cost of the foreign-made goods that are tariffed. Because if you can't, so a lot of people go to Dollar General and stuff be costing $3, $4, $5, $7. Well, you're not Dollar General anymore. But they can't sell some of those things at reduced prices. Well, dollar stores have been selling stuff for more than $1 for a long time. Because I remember when they first became popular, and we oversaturated the Milwaukee metro area with dollar stores as well. We built way too many. Family Dollar, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Dollar this, Dollar that. But a lot of the stuff that is sold in those stores is manufactured overseas in foreign countries, and now that stuff has got tariffs on it, you simply can't sell those things for $1 anymore because the tariffs oftentimes are much more than $1. The costs have been on the rise, and so has been the competition. Let's not forget that there has also been a shift toward online shopping, which has taken a toll. Despite having thousands of locations, many stores saw declining sales. Now the company is shutting down 96 Dollar General stores and 45 Pop Shelf stores while searching for new options to stretch their dollars. Walgreens is hitting the brakes on 1,200 additional locations by 2027, with 500 set to close their doors this year. The move comes as the pharmacy giant battles financial woes, including a staggering $3 billion loss, shrinking prescription reimbursements, and fierce competition from online retailers. CEO Tim Wentworth aims to streamline operations and boost profitability amid industry-wide downsizing. So shut your mouth when you hear about a Walgreens in the black community closing. It's not because we're stealing. It's because they're closing 1,200 Walgreenses. I didn't even know if there were that many Walgreenses. Joann Fabrics. Who the hell shops at Joann Fabrics? A renowned fabric and craft retailer, Joann Fabrics has announced plans to close all of its approximately 800 stores across the United States. Del Taco, we don't have one of those here. Ooh, Domino's. You're craving your favorite pizza, but your local spot has unexpectedly closed. The scenario is becoming more common as Domino's Pizza Enterprises, the largest global master franchise of the Michigan-based chain, plans to close 205 stores. CEO Mark Van Dijk emphasized the need to take decisive action to reshape business for long-term success. CEO Mark Van Dijk. Well, I didn't name him. The company continues to operate over 5,600 locations across the United States, remaining a dominant force in the American pizza market. I'm take a break, come back, talk to Al on the other side, ask him how his weekend was. Al, please give us the PG version. And also, Al, would love to know how you're celebrating Black History Month. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up a YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth, hit subscribe. You can vote in our YouTube poll, which is it still there? It's gone. Nope, there it is. The question is on our YouTube poll, do you celebrate Black History Month? 36% of you said no. 64% said yes. Huh. Figures. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey y'all, it's 1017 The Truth's Rhea Riley for Sweet Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
them say right now the search is over. Me say you find the right man where y'all look for. And them a carry feelings and hey, here Frisco Kid tell them say watch ya. Yo, so now you find the right man where for you clear. They make it easy for him when him tackle you. And if him bust it like I wanna make it rackle you. Mash up that show they can nobody can buckle you. If you find the right man where for you clear. They make it easy for him when him
833-212-1017.
Finally you find the man where you are look for.
Let's talk to Al. Hi, Al.
Hey, happy Monday. My celebration of Black History Month is pushing the excellence within our culture because we're Black. So we celebrate that every day. What I wanted one of these listeners to know, the only reason that that white people saying that somebody want them to feel guilty, nobody never wanted white people to feel guilty. That's their conscience eating away at their soul because it's something within them that they feel guilty. That's why a lot of them always say they Christian or they got a cross in their yard next to their Trump and Van signs. So that's something they have to deal with within them. We don't have a problem with you feeling guilty. That's your mindset and within you that was taught to your own kind. So we don't put that on you. Number two, Black people will always be an addiction to any racist because Black people could be minding their business. They could be sitting on the toilet. They could have had caged eggs and farted. And I guarantee you, Black people going to be put involved in somebody else's business while they minding their own business. I know you brought up the Holocaust, and we know white people still as well, but I guess keep in mind some of those Jews own some of those breeding farms, those slave ships, and they also had one of the largest Fortune 500 slave trading companies in Virginia somewhere. And even if they do talk about the Holocaust, they don't ever talk about how they murdered 12 to 20 million Christians back in the 30s. I believe it was Russian Christians. But I think the problem is they always want to play the victim because they push a lot of racism. So a lot of them try to act like they so about peace, but they're only about peace until they get exposed, and then they say, "Why me? Why me?" That's within their culture. And if the white women is not procreating the white man's seed, maybe the white man should come together and figure out why is it that the white women won't let them flood that vessel with COME. So that's something within their white men. We, the black men, we don't have nothing to do with your white women not letting you flood their vessel. All right? Y'all got to work that out. Last but not least, you brought up those two middle fingers that we heard about in those Epstein files. We know one thing, they wasn't checking for no IUD and it wasn't performing no pap smear. But keep in mind, these people who voted for this, that's on you. That's on you. That's not on us. And even with everything that's going on today, we're still not the leaders in all crimes. And I'm not saying all white people are bad. But when y'all white people want to push all this nonsense, y'all are the ones that voted for it. And including some of you black ones who voted for it, it's mighty funny when they ask you a question, you can never answer that question head on because you voted for it because you wanted to be Papa Smurf trick, and you're still stuck in the same zip code with blunt wraps and an alley, and you still got to take your trash can out on Monday because you was not good enough and you didn't hustle hard enough to get to them areas with no sidewalks and garbage cans and alleys. And I had a great weekend. I just went a little too hard because my check engine light is on in my other truck. But hey, that's just from having too much fun. Have yourself a great weekend. Valentine's Day is coming. I've been playing Black Dynamite theme song all day. That's how I'm celebrating. The Black Dynamite theme song, it gets you hyped up. And to my white men who are trying to procreate, you got to slow it down. It's about contingency and long strokes. Stop that jackrabbit. You cannot rush something that is euphoric, that ends in an undescribable feeling that has no real definition. That's like having bad crack mixed with no dose. Have a great day. Happy Monday.
Well, thank you,
Consistency is the key.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
My neck, my back, work at welfare and back. My neck, my back, work at welfare and back. You don't know me, I got G's. My back, you crawling on your knees. My back, I got welfare so clean.
I might as well just go to break. You know what I mean? Like, I might as well. I'm not even going to follow that up. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Girl, you're just like dynamite. When we kiss, my heart explodes. That's how I know you're dynamite.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, make sure you tap in all week long as we'll be giving away a pair of tickets every single day to the second annual Truth Community Awards taking place on Friday, February 20th. Last year was fire, and this year we are turning it up even more as we celebrate the unsung heroes who are out here making a real impact in our community. So make sure you are tapped in all week long to The Truth so you don't miss your chance to win free tickets to the biggest and best community awards right here in our city.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I posted in the Hughes Views 414 Facebook group a very simple question. How do white people celebrate Black History Month? I was just curious as to what they might say. And some of the people that responded said some things that are very insightful. Let me read a couple. Justin Brown says, looking for ways to show that they understand some of the trials and plights our black friends face while making sure to protect, secure, and continue all the gains and advantages held close and growing power from. Well, that's how Justin said white people, and he's a white fella, how some white people plan on celebrating Black History Month. Amy Fox Rumachek Schultz says, by explaining to their white friends that don't pay much attention to why it's important to have Black History Month and that Black history is American history, she says she works in education and she learns new things all the time. Such great stories of the impact the Black Americans have made in our country. She said she loves sharing these stories with all the Black children she works with. She thinks it's very important. That is from Amy Fox Rumachek Schultz. Hannah Marquardt, who I went to college with, known Hannah for a very long time. Hannah says, I'm speaking for myself here, but the awareness that I can walk around in public without being questioned or harassed or abducted for being born into a culture that was built on the scaffolding of others, pretty sad and deep trauma to process, and I am aware I do love revisiting Dr. King's speech. Thank you for that, Hannah, but I don't like how she feels that she's got to process trauma of something she had nothing to do with. That's why I get nervous when white people feel guilty when I have white guilt and I'm processing my white guilt, because they think that, I think that's a manipulation to some extent. You don't feel guilty. And when did you start feeling guilty? Like, at what point in time did you feel guilty for being born who you are? Listen, we get it. Black folks know that white folks who were born into this world, you're born into the damn same system we are. You're a victim of it just like we are. You don't need to feel guilty about that. I don't feel guilty for how I was born. None of us should. Now, we can identify things in the system that we have the power to change. We, of course, can have influence over the people in our circles to try and give them better and more accurate information so they'll be less bigoted. But don't feel guilty, because guilt turns into resentment. Because once you realize how big, overwhelming, and pervasive and immersive this system is, it'll just drive you into depression. So I don't want anybody to feel guilty. But some may think that their white guilt absolves them from their role and participation in systems that are racist. Listen, you got a white person in a vehicle, pull up to a stoplight. It's a group of black kids on the corner. They push the lock button. They lock their door. White woman walking on the sidewalk by herself, sees a black man walking toward her on the sidewalk. She immediately darts across the street. And because they know that they have done those things, they have prejudged African Americans like, oh, they're going to hurt me, they're going to harm me, they're going to rob me, they're going to carjack me. Sometimes people feel guilty about that, but I don't think that you do. And that does not endear us to you because you feel guilty, unless you've done something that would warrant the guilt, unless you went to a Klan rally, unless you promoted intentionally and on purpose white supremacy. You don't have to feel guilty. But here's what you can do, because you all have black friends. At least you all admit that you have black friends. Oh, Sherwin, I'm not racist. I have black friends. Why don't you do this then, since y'all want to feel guilty? Your black friends are sad today. Cash App them $100 so they can get some food. How about that for your guilt? Your black friends are a little disappointed that Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow. It got 6 more weeks to winter. Cash App your black friends $75. I said I was going to tell you the information that I was able to get a hold of about the two Custom and Border Patrol agents that shot Alex Pretty. Now, remember, the Department of Justice did not release their names.
Oh, yeah, you said these names were going to make us more mad than the actual video itself?
Yes.
I got to hear this. Talk to me.
All right. 2 CBP agents identified in Alex Pretty shooting. The 2 federal immigration agents who fired on Minneapolis protester Alex Pretty were identified as Border Patrol agent Jesus Ochoa and Raymundo Gutierrez. Hold on, I need y'all to understand this. Can you process with me? Let's process it together. You got 2 Latinos that work for Customs and Border Patrol and shot a white man. I need you to think about this. If you're a Latino and you're worried about being deported, not only can you join ICE, you can shoot white people. Oh, yes, and they're making $100,000 a year. And, oh, yes, they got a $50,000 signing bonus. And, oh, yes, they got their student loans forgiven. And they shot a white boy in cold blood. Hold on, wait a minute. Is there something going on here that we didn't originally think about? When Latinos and Hispanics joined Customs and Border Patrol and are now shooting white protesters, that flipped the script. Now, I think if more people knew that, you know how mad some of these Trumpers would be? Like, wait a minute. Wait. But they're Mexican. And, oh, yeah, we didn't like Alex Pretty because he was a protester and he was woke and he was a liberal. But wait a minute. These Hispanics shot a white boy. They murdered a white boy in the street. The 2 federal immigration agents who fired on Minneapolis protester Alex Pretty are identified in records as Border Patrol agents Jesus Ochoa and Customs and Border Patrol Protection Officer Raymundo Gutierrez. You can't tell me that they ain't Latino. Anybody whose first name is Jesus is, you know what I mean? Because the only people that name their kids Jesus is them. The records viewed by ProPublica list Ochoa, age 43, and Gutierrez, age 35, as the shooters during the deadly encounter last weekend that left Pretty dead and ignited massive protests and calls for criminal investigations. Both men were assigned to Operation Metro Surge, an immigration enforcement dragnet launched in December that sent scores of armed and masked agents across the city. CBP, which employs both men, has so far refused to release their names and has disclosed few other facts about the deadly incident, which came days after a different immigration agent shot and killed another Minneapolis protester, a 37-year-old mother of 3 named Renee Good. Pretty's killing and the subsequent secrecy surrounding the agents involved comes as the country confronts the consequences of President Donald Trump's aggressive immigration crackdown. Just the irony of that. 2 Latinos join CBP, patrol the streets as masked men, because they could be deported themselves just based upon their racial makeup. But instead, they work for CBP and they murdered somebody white. Are the Latinos and Hispanics covertly getting revenge on white people that want to see them deported by joining CBP, getting $100,000 a year, getting the $50,000 signing bonus, and then going and killing white people? Ooh, wait a minute now. Do we need to join forces? Hang on. Wait, I'm not sure how this is going to work. Wait now. Hold on. 2 Latinos who are more likely, in my opinion, to be deported are the ones that are enforcing the heavy-handed and murderous paramilitary agenda of ICE and CBP. Killed a white guy that was not reaching for his gun and for all intents and purposes was not a threat to any of those 6 or 7 agents that had Mr. Pretty subdued, and they murdered him anyway. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that was murder. And then the Trump administration came out and several other Republicans came out and said, well, you can't bring guns to protest. And then all the Second Amendment folks are like, wait a minute. And they showed all these photographs of all these conservatives, whether it be at a COVID march or whatever event or counter-protest in Kamala Harris, all them Republicans and conservatives bring their AK-47s and AR-15s to protest. And when the Trump administration said, well, if you bring a gun to a protest, you might get shot. The number one people that bring guns to peaceful protests are the conservatives. And so now they're worried they might get shot. And maybe they should. Let me tell you why. Because if you've got Latinos and Hispanics that probably hate white people because they're seeing their friends and their family get deported, if those people are joining ICE and shooting white people, ooh, you might have created a monster, because I didn't see this coming. Oh, I expected them white boys to have German last names. Fritz Messerschmitt and Adolf Schultz. That's who I thought were going to be the names of the people that killed Alex Preddy. You want to know what their names are? I got their names right here. Jesus Ochoa and Raymundo Gutierrez. So that's not funny. But it was other white men that were in that group that was subduing Alex Preddy. But the Latino dude was like, nah, we better shoot dude in the back. The records viewed by ProPublica list Ochoa, age 43, and Gutierrez, age 35, as the shooters during the deadly encounter last weekend that left Preddy dead and ignited massive protests and calls for criminal investigation. But guess what? They're going to get prosecuted. I guarantee they're going to get prosecuted, because now we know who they are. You think that they're going to let two Hispanics execute a white man, even if the white man was out there protesting and he's woke and, you know, those white people that conservative white people hate? When they find out who the shooters were, watch the tide turn. Because think about it, there is an anti-Latino and anti-Hispanic tone to our politics right now. But two Latinos shot a white boy? You'll be surprised to see how people can flip their politics once race enters into the picture. Because I never would have guessed in a million years a dude named Jesus? Jesus sent Alex Preddy to Jesus. That's wild. But no, they're going to get prosecuted, I guarantee, because once people find out, because this is not widely circulated information, the identities of these two men. That is Ochoa and Gutierrez. Jesus Ochoa and Raymundo Gutierrez are the names of the men that shot and killed Alex Preddy. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Truth Nation, it's time once again to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community at the 2nd Annual Truth Community Awards, happening Friday, February 20th at Venue